Right on. Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me Jason Galindo. Jason, it's good to have you on, brother.
I appreciate having me, bro. It's an honor to be here. It's a good show. You're a good man, and I hope to share some knowledge with you guys.
Right on. Right on, brother. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start out by telling everybody how your spiritual journey began.
It's been a long journey, bro. I'm a high priest of Satan. I practiced for 25 years. I was raised as Jehovah's Witness. I studied every religion when I was young. Rather than going out to play with other kids, I'd read the Bible. I would just study religious texts, right? And yeah, and they're just a calling to either be a priest for one side or the other, you know. So when I got older, it was like, it was either this or that. And I made my choice at age 22, and I stuck with it. Saying they called me, and yeah, bro, it's been an interesting experience, bro, and it's been good stuff, bro. A great journey.
See now I know what it's like to grow up in a religious home, even a strict religious home.
Right.
Now, I did not grow up Jehovah's Witness, but I do know that they're very devout. So that must have been pushed on you very hard from an early age. Am I right?
That's correct. Well, actually, my mother, she was somewhat lenient. However, it was instilled in us to study the Bible, adhere to the teaching of the scriptures, and but in a way, it kind of helped me out because it helped me to study different, not only that religion but other religions. Just dive into it, bro. And I read the Quran and a number of texts, and give me a
Mhm.
wider, broader understanding of different teachings.
Yeah. See, some people who grow up in a religious home, let's say, for instance, Christian, they might resent that as they get older and feel like they didn't need that. But at the same time, when I look back at my upbringing, if I wasn't raised in a religious home, I wouldn't have any interest in other spirituality. I wouldn't have any interest in studying other religions or trying to get so that it brought out that curiosity in me to
There you
seek out
go.
spiritual
Right.
knowledge. Because look, if I hadn't
Right.
been brought up in church, I would just be an average guy, married, white picket fence,
Right.
working 9 to 5 job, just completely
Oblivious to
empty
the other
inside
world.
spiritually. Yeah, exactly. But this gives you a drive. I mean, I understand that there's some emotional, physical,
A lot of
mental
emotional
hurt
stuff
that
involved,
may come
bro.
from the church as a result
Right.
of their teachings and maybe other people around. But at the same time, it gives you drive. It gives you curiosity. And in order to get ahead, in order to ascend, you have to go through pain. You have to go through hard times
There's no
in order
other
to
way.
ascend. Yeah.
Exactly,
So
bro. So like
would you look at your upbringing the same way?
exactly. It's the same thing, bro. Although I've experienced the bad side as well, because I have an uncle, he's elder in the congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, right? And I have not seen this man in 25 years. So one of the bad things about Jehovah's Witnesses is they will not see you or mess with you unless you're one of them, right? Once they find out you're no longer a member of the congregation, they shun you, bro. And that's wrong, right? So I was up there a couple years ago, visiting one of my cousins, my uncle's son, and I said, "Hey, I would like to see my uncle." Right? And he did not want to see me, bro. And my mother passed away in 2019. I'm like, look, he's a mother, he's a brother of my mother. I haven't seen him since I was like 12 years old. I'd like to see him. But no, he didn't want to do it, bro, because they programmed their minds, to think a certain way, and it's like a cult, bro, right? However, like you said, though, the religious upbringing and push us to strive to be curious, that did help me out, though. So it has ups and downs, bro.
Mhm.
Right.
Now, I know that growing up reading the Bible got me into reading books and becoming somewhat of a bookworm. Which occult books would you say have inspired you to where you are right now?
I read a lot, bro. I when I first started my journey, I did read Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. It's the rituals are good, but there's the philosophy is somewhat limiting because he focuses on just the flesh and not spirituality. but that kind of gave me inspiration to look for other satanic sources that are more spiritual, however, that adhere to the kind of the same concepts, like self actualization, self evolution, spiritual progress, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I read pretty much every major occult book you can think of, bro. From the Transcendental Magic by Alphonse Levi to Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Barden. I read them all, bro. So they all kind of made me more curious, make me want to practice more. And it's been an interesting journey, bro. And I will not change it for the world. Because in our practices, we experience things not just reading the book. The book is only the beginning, bro. The book is the beginning. After that, we experience it for ourselves, and that's what makes it real for you, right? You see this stuff. We're not just reading about old stories in the Bible and stuff. We're actually experiencing what these books tell us to do, So it's the beginning of a journey, bro.
Yeah, and it is. There's a big difference between, let's say, Christians reading the Bible and us reading our spiritual books. Is that like Christians will read the Bible, let's say the Book of Acts, and they read about people performing miracles and doing these spiritual acts. And the difference with us is when we read our books, we're actually doing that stuff.
We're
We're putting
doing
to
that stuff, bro.
practice. We're putting to practice.
What they preach.
Whether it's healing, or whether it's divination, or whether it's throwing a curse out, or whatever spiritual stuff that we're reading about, we're actually doing it. You know what I mean? Whereas
Right.
maybe Christians might pray and hope that the Holy Spirit comes and manifests and does things. But you had said that you've read just about every major occult book out there, and it shows in your book, because I can tell that you're very well read. Um, Now, for those who are watching, Jason is the author of the Satanic Manifesto. Now, that is a book that is on Amazon.com, and I have the link below right now. The digital version is out right now. And you said there's a hardcover coming out at some point,
Well, it's
or a
out
paperback
as all
at some
paperback.
point.
Yeah, they're all out right now. Right now, all three are available: ebook, paperback, and
Uh-huh.
hardcover. They're all available right now.
Okay, cool. So right now I have the digital copy. I think I'm probably going to pick up the paperback. But I've been reading the digital copy, and
Okay,
man, I'm going to tell you, I love this book because
thank you, bro.
it's better than I thought it was going to be. Because one reason I'm going to say I like this book is because the first half of it is basically an attack. You said an attack on Christianity, attack on Islam, attack on da 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 da.
Attack of
Ba-
indoctrination.
yeah, basically, if you wanted to, so like take when I'm looking through this book, I'm saying, okay, like if I wanted to prove a religion wrong, or I wanted to prove something wrong that someone believes, I could. These are the type of notes that I would make. These are I mean, with you have the bullet points, you have the references. All the references are legit.
It's
And
all
if I
research,
wanted
bro.
to come to somebody and say, hey, I challenge you to a debate, prove this wrong. Here's the
Right
sources.
there.
It's either they want to go ahead and try to by doing study, and I'll be happy to listen to their opinion, or they're just lazy and they don't want to do it, because it is work. It is work. It takes study.
It's not over.
You have to do your research. But yeah, I like the fact that it's the first half is basically proving other belief systems wrong. Now I understand that if someone is on their own spiritual journey and they have their own beliefs and whatever magic or whatever way spirituality works for them, that's fine, and that there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to just present the facts to somebody, that's you know that I dare them to prove this wrong, go ahead and do it anyways. And then the second half of the book is, you have the demonic call, you have actual satanic and demonic rituals with that's very well explained, and then you give step-by-step instructions. Now,
To
was
experience
this,
this.
yeah, through, so this, all this was all this through your experience, or was it like, channeled and then you kind of wrote it down, or how did the composition of this book come about?
Okay, so written text, that's the first step, because they provide like sacred text masters, they provide a roadmap to get you started, right? We all need some sense of direction. But at some point you get to the point where the book's not enough. You have to have experience from other sources beyond the books, right? So I have guidance from these entities, I communicate with them. I've had three human initiators over the course of my 25 years of practice. I've had five demon initiators, and so they all guide me, right? And I ask them questions, and they answer, and so my initiators they help me out as well. So it's there's stuff in the book that has never been published before, bro. Because some of the teachings in there, it's only taught to the higher orders of all satanic orders. This is stuff that's taught to higher order, priests and stuff, right? It's not published in books, bro. The Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple, the Temple of Satan, the Nine Angles, all these orders, these teachings, they know this. I've had some pushback from other priests, like they tell me, who gave you permission to print this? Because I'm printing things that only available to initiates, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
told them I have been instructed by those whom you may inquire. I didn't know what I meant. They said, okay, I see. So I'm following instructions and the teachings that I've been given from my teachers and from the spiritual entities in which we contact with, bro. And so this is the first time it's ever published. I published the true meaning of the island triangle, of the true symbolism of the tree of death, its moth. How to descend, how to get down there, how to meet these entities, make them part of your life, part of your reality, to communicate with them, bro. And it's the first time it's ever been done, bro. And again, I've had pushback for doing it, but they told me do it. Let's do it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely stuff that you won't find in other satanic books. There are some of the rituals and some of the explanations and some of the background behind the rituals is stuff that I haven't seen in other books. So, yeah, that's very, very true. Now, one thing I want to touch on is in the earlier part of your book, when you're talking about Christianity and disproving it, um, you explain a lot how Christianity, the story of Jesus, is based a lot on the sun itself, the sun in the sky, and especially the story of Jesus is taken a lot from the story of Mithra and Dionysus and these other tales,
Right.
you know, thousands of years before. You know, now let's say, for instance, Christian, the story of Jesus and the story of Mithra are very, very, very similar. Um, why is it, do you think, that even today, with the internet at people's fingertips and they have all this information, why do you think that people still are not able to see that that Christianity is a plagiarism of earlier myths?
Because they're taught from birth by their parents, their grandparents, their churches, their synagogues, do not question authority, do not question what the Bible says, because ever since the French Council of Nicaea in 314, after Emperor Constantine declared Catholicism the official religion of the Roman Church, of the Roman Empire, they chose these teachings and said, do not question this. So Christians are taught, like especially those when it says, do not read other things that bring you away from the truth in quotes, right? And so they won't read, they shan't, they will not read it. Anything that goes against what they are told to believe, they want nothing to do with it, because they believe it's gonna turn them evil, it's gonna make them go to hell, it's the devil's work, and the priests are smart, bro. They're well spoken, they know what they're doing, and they say do not read this other stuff because it will lead you away. But the reason why they say don't read it, because they know it leads to the fucking truth, bro. And
Yeah,
that's why they want them reading it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It's sort of I know that when you leave religion, it's hard to reprogram yourself, because I remember being taught that, oh, don't question God's word, don't question God. Like I would
Yeah.
I would ask Bible questions and stuff, and then like if I would go to like someone high up and ask them a Bible question and they didn't have an answer for me, they would say, well, it's God's will that you not know it, or something like that. And I'm like, that doesn't,
Yeah. They
that
don't have
I don't
answers,
accept
bro. They
that.
don't have answers, bro. Because
Yeah.
the original writings from the Old Testament, the Torah, they're written by mystics, right? And mystics, they encoded their spiritual experiences in text, and that's the esoteric part of it, right? And so
Mhm.
these present day priests, they're reading the exoteric part. Exoteric is the part that's seen, right? It's obvious, but they don't know how to interpret the mystic part because they're not mystics, right? And so they're taking word for word when it's allegory, it's parable, it's metaphor, and so they don't know what the hell they're reading. They're reciting verses, John 3:16 and verses at Sunday church and everything, but they don't know what the hell they're reading, bro, because because these scriptures, ancient scriptures, were written by mystics to encode their teachings and their experiences with the spiritual realm, and so they interpret it literally and say don't question it literally, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about, essentially.
But yeah, and the way that I see it is that every teacher that's worthy of respect would allow you to question what they're
You
teaching,
should.
because that's how you learn, that's how you gain understanding, that's how you gain
Exactly.
wisdom from experience, from all that stuff. You have to question. You know what I mean?
You have to. You
I mean,
have to be
how would you
curious.
you can't, like, let's say if you're like, let's say in school, like in math class, and you're not allowed to ask any questions. Well, how am I supposed to learn this material and understand it? You know what I mean? Like, I can still the
Exactly.
basics, but how am I supposed to go from basic to advanced if I can't question them? They want you to not just basically to
Question.
be dumbed down, the way I see
Yeah.
it.
The blind leading the blind, bro. It's the blind leading the blind. The teachers don't. They're preaching what they're talking. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, again, they're reading the exoteric part of the text, not understanding that's allegory, it's metaphor. They don't understand, but every religion does have its mystics, kind of like the Jews have the Kabbalists, they're mystics. There are Christian
Yeah.
mystics. There are Sufi mystics, which Islam mystics. Every religion has mystics, bro, and the mystics are the ones that are actually in there. They use the text as a roadmap, but then they go past that roadmap and they experience this shit for themselves, And that's part of being a mystic. I'm a satanic mystic. Um, I use textbooks and literature only as a starting point, and then I start experiencing for myself, And then from there, so once you get to a certain point, these entities that you contact with, they teach you. Some of the rituals in the book were not taught to me by books or humans. My guide told me the ritual for the demon call, for the to use the pendulum board to communicate with entities. That was rituals that was given to
Mhm.
me, and yeah. But once you're in there, bro, and you see it, and it just changes your perspective on things, bro. And you must be a spiritual mystic in order to truly experience what these books are trying to teach you.
Yeah, 100% agree. Now, you mentioned about using the pendulum, the pendulum part in the book. Now, what I thought was interesting about this is you have a certain way to, lay out the board, what to draw and what to have on there. And, you contact about maybe 4 or 5 different demons' energy and calling it forth so that you can use that when you divine. And I thought that was interesting, because one thing that I like to do sometimes is I'll sit in front of a demonic altar, and let's say I'll take my pendulum and I'll allow the entity to move the pendulum when I ask questions. And that's one way I can communicate.
All
But
right.
I like how you get, 4 or 5 different demons' energy, in there, and then you go ahead and ask the questions. I thought that was unique the way you have it laid out.
Okay, so for like people like me and you, we practiced for a while. We already have contact with these entities. So the ritual was for anyone, beginner, never read a book before in Satanism or religion. If you follow the rituals in that book, these rituals will work, and it was meant to let them contact entities for themselves, right? Because like me, I don't need the rituals anymore because I could use it like you and they start talking to me. How you do it? It starts
Yeah,
spinning, right? But for a new
yeah,
person, in order for it to work, you must follow the rituals. You must use invocations, say the prayers, and you have to open the gates. The gates must be open, bro. And so that's why I presented it the way I did, for anybody to be able to contact the entities and learn from themselves and have these entities guide them down their spiritual journeys of self-evolution.
Hmm. Right on, man. Yeah, I agree that, for someone like me and you, it would just, come right away. But it's really great the way you have it laid out for a beginner, for someone who's getting in contact with that energy for the first time. Very well done. Now,
Thank you.
another thing that I wanted to point out in the book is the middle pillar exercise. So we're all familiar, everyone watching is all familiar with the middle pillar ritual by Israel Regardie. But the way that you have it laid out is that instead of using the divine names that people usually use, you vibrate demonic names for the different chakras. Okay, now that's I know that there's other people that do that, but I like the fact that you included that in the book. Now you made a note saying that the third eye is not included in the exercise because the third eye is stimulated by the demon call. Okay.
Exactly.
Now, for those watching, can you explain a little more about that?
Okay, so the chakras and all the pores in our body are stimulated by imagination, energy work, breath work, and so part of the demon call, what we do is we stimulate with the third eye right here, right, in your forehead, and as part of that call, you call the spirit through your breathe them in through the third eye, and so stimulating the third eye, it activates it, right, and so as the energy enters your body, you become you achieve equivalence of form with the entity, and their energy helps open your third eye, and the more you work, the more it opens, and the more it opens, the more experience you start having, right? And eventually you'll be able to start hearing them talk to you. You eventually start having visions. So it's about stimulation of the third eye, bro, and the chakra system, and the middle pillar helps with the chakra system because you're stimulating it. And so the more the chakra system is stimulated, the more energy you get fed into it, and you start more experiences. But the main thing is open the third eye, bro. And part of the demon call is we work with it, we stimulate it, call it demon through our foreheads and to the palms of our hands, which also we have three portals: portal one, portal two, portal three. So we breathe them in through our hands, our forehead, it brings them into us and it activates the third eye, bro. And the more it opens, you start experiencing more.
Now, let me ask you this. What is it, do you think, about the demonic that most people tend to just misunderstand?
They're not okay. So they're kind of like people, bro. There's good people, bad people. Same thing with angels. There's good angels, bad angels. An angel could be used to kill someone just as easy as a demon can, right? Now they've been given a bad name, a bad rap, if you will, by Christianity. All the gods of the ancient world, regardless of how benign were their teachings or their natures, were called demons. They're evil because they're not part of the angelic hierarchy. They're not Jehovah's servant, whatever. So everyone was thrown in a class of demons, right? So not all of them are bad. They're powerful forces. They're conscious entities that can be communicated with. Again, like people, some are good, some are bad. And we could learn from them. We can acquire power from them. And it's just another side of spirituality that Christianity try to shut up. So we believe in their Bible and with their teachings, right? But if we disregard that and we work with these entities, we will see that it's not all evil. It's just another part of spiritual evolution, bro. It's another path, if you will, of spiritual evolution. A more independent path, a more self-evolved path, bro. You know.
Yeah, I think that some people tend to put like a label on all demons. Like, let's say, for instance, someone will put a label on a city and be like, "Oh, I don't like that city because everybody in that city is that way, or everybody in that town is that way." Well, that doesn't mean everybody's like that. You know what I mean? There's people in that town or that city that are cool, some people that are dicks, some people that, are knowledgeable in certain areas that you may need help with. So the same thing with demons. Like some people would think that, oh well, they're demons, so they just nothing but a path of destruction, nothing but hate. Well,
Because
that's
that's
not
what they
true.
were
Some
taught.
of them,
That's what they were taught.
no, there are some, yeah, there are some that are like that. But
There
I
are some that
mean,
like that.
you
Yeah,
know, yeah, but they can. A lot of them, they can feel for you. They can, especially as you develop a relationship with them, they can
they help you.
help you
Yeah,
out
they
with
help you,
certain
bro. The
areas. They can protect your
guardians. You
family.
have guard.
You know,
You have your guardians. Yeah, for sure.
protect your children. I mean,
All that.
people
Yeah.
people get it misunderstood and twisted. So,
Yeah, I agree, bro. 100%, bro. And but you
mhm.
know, but Christianity, they've had such a monopoly on religion for so long that anything that is not Christian is evil, right? And so that's why they've got such a bad rap, you know, because we're socialized through socialization of Christian beliefs, that
Well,
it's bad stuff, bro. But it's
yeah,
not. It's not.
they can keep people in enclosed area and not want no influence from anything else. Like, oh, if it's not, Christian this or Christian that, Christian music, Christian movies, if it's not Christian books, not Christian people, don't associate with them, that type of thing. That's, now they're not all, they're like that to different extents, but a lot of them are just really strict like that, and we know what
That's a,
that's like.
and that's how they control their people. That it's like a cult. And Joe's Witness is that they're one of the worst ones I like that, bro. Like I said, I tried to see my uncle, and other family members. Once they found out I'm a Satanist, they don't want to talk to me, and because they're programmed to shun that, bro. It's like if your
Yeah.
family's your family, man, and it's wrong. Like me, one of the tenets of Satan is acceptance. We accept everybody for who they are, for what they
Yeah.
believe, regardless of creed, whatever. If you're my family, you're my family. If you're my friend, you're my friend. I don't care what you do,
Right.
bro. As long as you're not harming the innocent, as long as you're not doing things against those who don't deserve it, then I invite you to come to join me.
Right. Right on. Now, there's a website. I think I saw a website on your page called the Black Synagogue of Satan. Now, is that the website that's currently the new one, or one that's currently working, or is that a different website?
So that's new one. Okay, so I'm staying at the website, the Black Synagogue of Satan is the name of my church. We've been in existence for a number of years. However, this is the first time we became public. Because I was instructed, okay, now it's time to come out. We're waiting for the book to be published first before we actually let the church be known. But we've been around for a number of years, and so now the book is out. They said, okay, let's do it. So I'm setting up the website, the Black Synagogue of Satan, and it has some of our major teachings, our philosophy, the symbolism, the ritual stuff we do. It's right now it's presently still working on it. Probably a couple more days, but yeah, it's in the works, and we're kicking it off. I also have on Facebook, the Black Synagogue of Satan. I have a group on there which shares some
Okay.
of our teachings. And yeah, so we're just right now coming out again. I packed for 25 years. The Black Synagogue has been in existence for a number of years, but this is the first time actually being private. I mean public, if you will.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, and everyone who's watching, I'll include those links below, along with the link to Jason's book. So Jason, I want to ask you something here. Now, if you could go back to your younger self when you were just starting out on this path and give yourself some advice, what would you say to yourself?
I would say just keep striving. Just keep striving. Just keep learning. It's been an interesting journey. Yeah, just keep studying. Don't believe what you're told. Believe what you learn by personal experience. Study, but formulate your own teachings, or your understanding of the teachings, and experience for yourself. We teach. Do this, do that. However, we say do this, do that, only so you experience for yourself. And once you experience for yourself, they know it's true, bro. So I would say
Yeah.
just study and just keep striving, bro, to be something better than what you were, and experience these truths for yourself, and yeah, and do not let anyone's dissuade you or discourage you, just keep going, bro.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And yeah, Jason, it's been a good chat. Once again, everyone who's watching the Satanic Manifesto, the book, I encourage you guys, make sure you guys pick up that book on Amazon.com. I have the link below in the video description. Jason Galindo, Jason, thanks again for your time. Appreciate it.
It's my honor, bro. Good stuff. Hope we do it again.
Yeah, definitely we'll be bringing you back on. And everyone who's watching, make sure you like and subscribe to Dark Sorcery.
Dark Sorcery, awesome, bro.